Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back. Space Cowboy here. We are officially back from the bye week. 6-2. We have the Packers on deck and the start of a 3-game crucial stretch for the Dallas Cowboys at this juncture in the season. I'm going to go over why that is important, and I'm also going to go into the details of this upcoming matchup. If that's stuff that you enjoy, I do highly recommend you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Why? Because it's free and you get more Cowboys content in your sub box. Now look, I understand that a lot of us have a certain feeling about this game because we know what Green Bay has done to the Dallas Cowboys with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. Now this is the first matchup with us having Mike McCarthy on our coaching staff against Green Bay, and I think there is a lot riding on this game going to Lambeau Field. The Dallas Cowboys have not beaten the Packers since 2016 at Lambeau, and the interesting thing about all of this is that the narratives are starting to be painted. Mike McCarthy's homecoming. Aaron Rodgers is again trying to add another blemish to the Dallas Cowboys record, and with his history, I would not be shocked if that is the case this go around. With them on a 5-game losing streak, and all losing streaks do come to an end at some point, I would not be shocked if this is the game that it happens. However, we're going to touch up on a couple of things that the Dallas Cowboys can do to win this game and why it is crucial they win this game. To start things off, why is it important they win this game? The Dallas Cowboys have the opportunity to get to 7-2, obviously, but you can knock Green Bay out of playoff contention, basically, by getting them to 3-7. They're in a division where the Vikings are at a 7-1 record as we currently stand. They will play the Buffalo Bills. I believe I'm hearing that Josh Allen will play in that game. But assuming even if they win or lose that game, it will not matter because if you're 3-7, there's no way in hell you're going to catch up to a 7-2 team unless they fully collapse, or an 8-1 team for that matter. But also, if you're looking at the wild card, it's going to be hard for them because of the amount of losses they have accumulated in the NFC, as a matter of fact. Now look, I get it. We look at the Packers and we have that boogeyman Michael Myers type of aura around Aaron Rodgers. You know, oh, we only beaten him twice. He always owns us. But this is a lot different, ladies and gentlemen. This is a different Dallas Cowboys team. This is a different Packers team. And allow me to explain. The Dallas Cowboys are going into this game with an offense that has a very deadly running attack if it gets going. And on top of that, you have a wide receiving core that can get the job done. You don't really have to do a whole lot offensively because at the end of the day, you have enough firepower to do that. But where the Cowboys' advantage lies is defensively. The Dallas Cowboys are going up against a Packers team where they have struggled to get the ball down the field due to the fact Aaron Rodgers is a guy that really does love to have plays develop and turn into something big. And unfortunately, that has been the demise of this Packers team because they're 15th in the league when it comes to yards per play. And honestly, it's really telling that when you have a team that has Allen Lazard as the best option receiving, there's a lot of limitations there. And realistically, the Packers have to get the run game going. I think where they're going to win this game is that they can run the ball effectively on the Dallas Cowboys with Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon, whoever they decide to use. And if Aaron Jones is healthy, of course, I think that that's going to be where the game is won. You know, a lot of us are like, I'm not a fan of putting the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands because you don't know what can happen, and I understand that, but this is a game where if you can get him on his ass, you will most likely win. This year, the Packers are 0-2 when he is sacked 4 or more times, and that is going to be the number I'm looking for. If you can get to Aaron Rodgers in key situations, and more importantly, keep him on the ground, it's going to be hard for the Packers to mount a comeback or be competitive in this game. Let's just keep it funky. Now, I don't think Green Bay is going to lie down and take this game. Why? They're fighting for their playoff lives, guys. Look, you're 3-6. You need to try and stop the bleeding and get back on track. You got a guy in Aaron Rodgers that has had a good history against the Dallas Cowboys, but it's going to be hard. You don't have a lot of offensive firepower to really do much. You have key injuries on your defense as well. It's going to be tough, right? But if you drop to 3-7, it's all but a foregone conclusion that your season's pretty much over at that point. You know, the amount of losses you have in the NFC as other teams in the NFC gather wins as you get losses, it's going to be difficult for Green Bay to mount a comeback into the postseason. I've seen it done before, but they don't have the same type of firepower and offensive weaponry to do it like they did in 2016, right? So I think that this is going to be a key matchup for Dallas to get their boogeyman out of the way. Now look, when you look at the game plan and how I would approach this game, number one, offensively, score points and make Green Bay have to match you tit for tat. It's plain and simple. You want to make sure that you are imposing your will on Green Bay offensively, whether it be running the ball, passing the ball, however the case may be. You need to be able to administer the offense effectively. That's the first thing. Now, the other thing, too, is that when you actually look at the defensive side of the ball for Dallas, as I mentioned, stop the running game, make Aaron Rodgers and this Green Bay passing attack try to beat you, and go from there. Aaron Rodgers has not looked the sharpest. The offensive passing attack for the Packers hasn't looked good. And honestly, they get away from the run relatively easily, which is shocking because a lot of the times when they actually run the ball, that has been their bread and butter in their successful seasons where they won 13 or more games, right? Is that they're running the ball, they're making Aaron Rodgers, an effective, efficient passer, hence why he's won back-to-back MVPs. Now, that off to the side, I do firmly believe, though, that the Dallas Cowboys should win this game and probably will win this game. The reasoning for that is, again, the defense is playing at a very high level right now, and honestly, based off of what I've been seeing with the Packers, they haven't really looked anything menacing to be like, maybe I should take them this week. But I think that this kind of lies into the fact of how prepared are the Cowboys going to be for this game. We, again, know the narratives at stake like we talked about at the very beginning of this video. Is Mike McCarthy going to come in and have his team focused? Aaron Rodgers, is he going to come in guns blazing and he's going to tear this defense to shreds? I don't know. But this is not the same type of Cowboys defense we've seen of recent memory. And I think when you look at a lot of those matchups, they don't really include a guy or a set of guys that can rush the passer like we've been able to do. The Cowboys lead the league in sacks this year, and they've done the well turning the ball over, not as much as other teams from what I've seen, but they're doing things at their own pace like they did last year. So I would say to myself, if I'm being real with you, I would take the Cowboys to win this game. There is many indications that Green Bay might fold. I mean, they're on the verge of that. Have they given up? I don't think they've given up, but they're close. And I think that this is the game where you can just get that final nail in the coffin and move on. And we can't look over next week's matchup, and that is against Minnesota. Now, it's been confirmed. I thought it was going to be flexed the Sunday night, but because of the fact they play on Thanksgiving, I do think that them keeping at the 425 spot makes sense. The reason why this matchup is super important to the Dallas Cowboys is the head-to-head tiebreakers that will pose a very key point in the seeding come January. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of these matchups have crucial natures to them. And I think that you winning against Minnesota, regardless of what your record is, will be key. Because if in the event that you somehow catch Philadelphia and you have the same record as the Vikings, assuming that there isn't going to be a three-way tie at that point, I think that you will be in a very good position to take that number one spot if it is open for the Cowboys. Now, even if they are 6-3 and win that game, it's still a similar evident point. Now moving to Thanksgiving. If you manage to beat the Giants on Thanksgiving, I think the Cowboys have solidified themselves as the number 5 seed at minimum in the NFC. We don't know what's going to happen to the Giants down the road, and this is where you start seeing contenders and pretenders emerge. That is why it's important for the Cowboys to win every single game in this stretch. You win these next 3 games, and if you, by some reason, get to 9-2, I think a lot of people will look at the Cowboys differently. You look at what the field says. Okay, you beat a Packers team you were supposed to beat. Okay, you went on the road and you beat a Minnesota Vikings team that arguably is the second best team in the conference record-wise, but some people have said they're really good. Then you go home to Thanksgiving, you finally get a win on Thanksgiving versus a division rival, and you basically get yourself still in striking position to win the NFC East if it's still available, and you basically say to everybody that we are a legitimate team. We've beaten this gauntlet of teams, and guess what? We did it in the dreaded scheduling of having the 3 games in the 11-day stretch, whatever the hell it is. But that is exactly why these games are important. We cannot afford to lose ground, and more importantly, we can't afford to trip up. We can't afford to trip up, because if you lose one of these games, it's going to make it a lot harder, and I'm going to be real with you. I don't care if the Cowboys do not win the division. I don't care if they do or not. All I care about is this team gets back to the postseason. I do believe that if you do win the next 3 games, which is entirely possible, am I expecting it? Not really. I think Dallas will drop a game in this 3-game stretch, but even if you end up 8-3 or 9-2, you are in a damn good position to get a playoff, you're in a very damn good spot to secure a playoff spot. And I think that we could be having those discussions as soon as in the next 2 weeks. And I'm going to be doing my NFC playoff preview / picture after this week, once we kind of see some of these other NFC teams play. Because I was thinking about doing it this week, but the Giants didn't play, the Cowboys didn't play. And I think that we need one more week to kind of do a snapshot and be like, hey guys, this is what the NFC is looking like. This is what I would be worried. This is where I'm not worried. But right now, if the Cowboys were to go to the playoffs today, they would be playing against Tampa Bay in the number 5 spot versus number 4. And I think that that's going to be the crucial juncture that the Cowboys are going to need to be in if they want to go on a run. It's about getting the favorable matchups. You winning your amount of games will either get you a first-round bye, or you will get, assuming that you're a wild card team, the best matchup possible, which the NFC South has not looked strong. They haven't. Even Tom Brady's Buccaneers, they have not looked strong, and so I'm not worried about our team. As long as they are doing what they're doing now, I think that they can win. But again, that's something we're going to keep an eye out on, and I'm going to end it on this note. The Dallas Cowboys have a winning formula. They cannot afford to get away from it. If they do get away from it, there is going to be a high likelihood that this team will get bounced out again. But if things continue as they are trending, the Dallas Cowboys could emerge as a serious contender in the NFC. And I understand we're hearing about OBJ as well, which I'll have a video on momentarily, but I do think once it's all said and done, the Dallas Cowboys will either emerge as a real contender or a pretender in the month of November. And this stretch will be very telling. And I think that we're just going to have to go along for the ride, see how we do. And maybe is it that these losses were just, if we get a loss, is it something that came about because we didn't play good football? Or maybe we did and some other erroneous thing happened. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit that notification bell. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, guys.